but they gotta see us stepping right now. Right now, we can move mountains if we do it together, y'all. We can break down and rewrite the law if we do it together, y'all. We can build bridges, race to race, if we do it together, y'all. Giving the world that change of pace, we can do it together, y'all. Hey, something's gotta change. Something's gotta change right now. Right now. Something's gotta change. Something's gotta change right now. Right now. Oh, my blood bleeds red. Your blood bleeds red. Right now. Right now. Right now. When your brother is dead, that means my brother is dead. Right now. Right now. We can move mountains if we do it together, y'all. We can break down and rewrite the law if we do it together, y'all. We can build bridges, race to race, if we do it together, y'all. Giving the world a change of pace, we can do it together, y'all. Yeah, something's gotta change. Something's gotta change right now. Right now. Something's gotta change. Something's gotta change right now. Right now. Yeah.
50 years from 27. Our march is not yet finished, but we're getting closer. 239 years after this nation's founding, our union is not yet perfect, but we are getting closer. Our job's easier because somebody already got us through that first mile. Somebody already got us over that bridge. When it feels the road's too hard, when the torch we've been passed feels too heavy, we will remember these early travelers and draw strength from their example and hold firmly to the words of the prophet Isaiah. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength.
We need a change. We need a change. We need a change. We need a change.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to my very first episode of Political Tuesday, Tea Time with Bunky. This will not be every week. This will not interfere with my regular Thursday shows. Political Tuesdays will be every other Tuesday, every other month. Because for those that know me, know I really don't like politics. But this is a way to get to know and better understand it. My goal is to talk to everybody on every side. I mean everything, because I really want to know how this works. So, but first, let's get this out the way. I want to thank all of my new subscribers, my new viewers, because everybody doesn't subscribe. A lot of people like, so I need you to go back and subscribe to Tea Time with Bunky, especially on YouTube. I'm trying to get to at least 500 followers. So I'm live on Facebook and I'm also live on YouTube. But for those that have liked and shared and subscribed, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. This is my first show of 2022. Thursday will be the show that kind of has me a little nervous and excited. That's Defining My Family. It's about my nephew who was adopted at the age of 4. We found him. Well, he found me. He found us after 25 years because of Ancestry DNA. A lot of people watched it all unfold on Facebook, but now we're going to have the actual conversation. Initially, it was supposed to be in person, but due to this COVID thing, we're going to do it virtual. But it's still the same. I mean, we see them all the time, so it's not like we don't see them. But you guys will get to see them and hear them and all of that wonderful stuff. So make sure you tell someone, tell a friend, like, follow, subscribe. Also, leave a comment. Leave a comment or two. I wonder what you think of the show, what I can do better, and I'm still learning. So at this point, without further ado, let me take this off. Wait a minute. Let me take this off. Let me put up this disclaimer to let everybody know that what goes on in this conversation, whether it be my views or the views of my guests or future guests, it's our views. It doesn't reflect off of anyone else, be it friends, family, employment. This is not their opinions. This is just opinions of me and my guests. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Mr. Michael Greco. Let me applaud. Hey, Kristen Anthony on. Welcome to your second
Second.
appearance. Yes. You were one of my first ones. You were one of my first people that came on, and you were patient. You were patient because I had no clue what I was doing, but it's better now. You are running for the second time,
Yes.
right? The first time you ran, 2020, you were a write-in.
Right.
And your turnout was phenomenal.
Thank you. Well, their turnout.
Well, that's part of.
I am so uncomfortable taking credit for anything. Right.
The young people got out there and fought for you.
Right. That's who deserves that.
Right. They went out there and they fought for you. I mean, like, they were knocking on doors. They were bringing people to the polls. I mean, like, they were doing it. So you're running this time. You're on the ballot.
Yes.
Yes,
nobody has to be able to spell my name this time.
So that was a problem last time, you think?
It wasn't. I mean, the thing is, and I have like a great story. I was driving people to the polls, and I took this lady to the poll, right? And I talked to her the whole ride there and the whole ride back. The whole ride there about I'm running for office. My name is Michael Greco. You're gonna have to write my name in. And she went and she voted. She got back in my car and she goes, "I didn't see your name on the ballot," so she didn't vote for me. So
that was a waste of gas.
Yeah. Well, like, I got someone out to vote, but the thing is that, like, by not being there, there's some people who maybe know me, but just expect to see my name and didn't see it. So they didn't vote for me, and again, that's, I mean, we got a lot. I mean, for a write-in candidate, I mean, I was shocked. I mean, again, like, we've talked many times outside of podcasts, we've talked. And really, the goal was to get young people to see, the local, they were screaming about stuff that wasn't in their community.
Right.
Like, well, you should probably see your own community too.
Right.
And that's
so. Do you, knowing? I mean, like, I seen you in 2020 at the rallies. Like, you were involved. You were there. You were a face. You weren't just, and not even just at the rallies. You've been a face for everyone. With the sports, with the kids. So people know you. So they know that your intentions are good. They know you're about the community. Right? Do you think that the turnout this election with the youth, the younger people, will be just as visual as it was last time, do you think?
I think it'll be harder. I think I'm gonna have to work harder. The fact is that, we did have the rallies to get people out. I mean, and it was a strange election year because it was in September, so it was kind of like off the summer, and it was, and everybody could go out and everybody could meet and everybody could talk. Even during COVID, we were 6 to 12 feet apart. But we were able to be on the yard, like in a lawn, we could be places. It's January. it was like 12 degrees today. No one's coming out to a rally on so I have to knock on doors, and I have to be busy and moving and doing what I'm doing, and it's funny because I'm really not comfortable being intrusive on people's lives, so it's strange for me, but again, I mean, I know a lot of young people, and honestly, I know everybody at this point, and it's kind of like, I knock on a door and they know who I am, and so and the questions I get are all legitimate questions. They're all informed questions, which is good, because that's what I wanted. I want people to do what you're doing. I want them to learn about our politics and learn about what's going on here. I didn't know a great deal about politics until I got a job in the Village. And then I got to get up to right about here in politics, while I worked at the Village, and so again, like since then I've learned, the ins and outs of politics as an outsider, because again, I, never had an intent to run for office. I'm not that guy.
Right.
But
that's what you
last
said.
Yeah,
You said that before.
Yeah, and the thing is like last year was a special situation, and it was a special situation for our community, with the way the Village dealt with their issue. It was especially, in our country, and I mean, honestly, 2020 will go down as one of those years that will always be remembered.
Yeah.
And I don't know any other year that will ever be like, no one will say, 2020 was my best year ever. I don't think I know anybody who's going to be able to say that.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And it just carried over to 2021 for some people.
Yeah, that's true too. Now going into this thing, you have the support of both parties, but which parties? What if you didn't have? I mean, because I think it's terrible that it's either a Democrat or Republican. That's why I didn't get involved. Sorry, Dana. They asked me to be a part of the Democratic thing that I vote for what speaks to me. Doesn't matter what party you're a part of, but you got the support of both.
Right.
Like you got the support of both. And that must feel good because you don't have, who's your opposition? Like, who are you running against?
Well, yeah. So pretty much what it is that the two spots that are open are Charlie Sabatini's and Rochelle Massey. I don't know. Rochelle is with Gordon Jenkins.
I was going to say Gordon.
Right. They have the store on Broadway.
Okay.
So and Charlie is a Republican.
Okay.
So pretty much when it came time after I guess we'll bring it back a little bit.
Okay.
After the last election, I was thanked, the Democrats said, hey, you did a great job. The Republicans said, hey, you did a great job. And that was it. Like, okay, cool. I'm a registered Democrat, and I've spent my life, not voting Democrat or Republican. I vote, right, especially in a small community. If somebody is on the Democratic ticket that I don't agree with, I don't vote for them.
Right.
And so with that said, that's been normal. My wife is hilarious. She's trying to get around without being on the camera, not knowing that the camera has just my head in it.
It's okay. It's okay.
She's
now let me ask you, because that's good what you said. If you don't like the person in your party, right? What if you really don't care for either one of them? Let's say you don't care for either one, right? But you have to pick somebody. You have to. You can't just not vote. That's just worse than to not vote is worse than.
Well, I mean, me personally, I guess I'm one of these people. Like, I look down the ballot. I look at all the people that are on the ballot.
Right.
You know, especially in a national election, there's always more than two.
Right.
You know, and people need to invest the time to see the other candidates. It's not a throwaway vote. I've always told people, like, if you didn't like Biden and you didn't like Trump and you voted for a third party candidate, that's your choice. That's why we vote. We vote to have that choice. The same thing that people could say during my election, going into it, how do you write in someone's name? They're not on the ballot. That's a waste of a vote. Well, it wasn't a waste of a vote because you voted for what your conscience said. And your conscience said, this is the person I think who should have this job. And if you think Stone Cold Steve Austin should be running the Village, then you can write in Stone Cold Steve Austin, which people do every year. They write in some of the weirdest things. If you ever look at some of the weirdest names I put on the bottom of the ballots. I think Daffy Duck has gotten like votes every year in the Village.
Yeah, well, that's straight ridiculous. That makes no sense.
But the idea is that if you feel that the two candidates, the Republican and Democrats, don't speak to you, and there's a third one that you feel comfortable writing in or voting for, I'm 100% in support of that.
Now, with politics, because this is just my opinion. This is my opinion.
That's why we'd have a disclaimer on the bottom.
Right. Yeah. That's it's my opinion. It seems as if my opinion, it seems as if during these local elections I'm telling you, I was about to have 15 heart attacks with these local elections. It seems as if it's more of a popularity contest. Or if you're a Republican, you have to vote for a Republican. If you're a Democrat, you have to vote for a Democrat. It doesn't seem like they're looking at who's best for the job. Now, you can have people that were pretty self-centered, maybe self-absorbed, okay, that were in positions and really didn't do much. At the end of the day, they're like, oh snap, let me do what I got to do, to win this vote. But all the times they were in position, they really didn't care. I can honestly say, watching this election and all the between Fallsburg and Monticello, people were a little nervous. Well, not Monticello, town of Thompson, whatever. People were a little nervous, and it just seemed to me like people, either it was about a title or it was about title, income, or popularity, or or a party, not about who is going to do the best job and whose intentions are right for the job. Not coming at you, because see, I know where you come from. I know where you're coming from. Your intentions, which you're going to go into, because this could be my assumption, but it's just so disheartening and so aggravating. And that's why I think people don't get involved. Like, I hate politics because it just seems like a bunch of lies. Everybody's lying on somebody, making up stories, and people believe this because they're not taking the time to get to know the candidates and things like that. So how do you differ for the people that don't know you?
Well, for the people who do know me first, pretty much, I'm not like, when you ask me who I'm running against, I don't care. Right. I'm not running, what I've noticed in local politics is a lot of name calling, a lot of negative talk back and forth, a lot of that stuff. But there's nobody running on issues. Nobody's running on that we don't have jobs for our young people. Nobody's running on that we don't have businesses for our young people to work at. Nobody's running on the taxes that that we have, multiple, programs between two things. These things never get mentioned because they're too busy saying, well, this person is in this person's pocket, this person's in that person's pocket.
Right.
I'm too big to fit in anyone's pocket. So the simple fact is that that's not what elections should be about. And I can honestly tell you, I'm expecting, the mud to be slung at me. Right. I am. I'm very, very, very sure that it will be slung at me. And I'm pretty comfortable. I know what the things will be said, and there'll be probably some things that will be said that I'm not even sure of. But the simple fact is that's not how I do things.
Right.
I don't throw mud at people. I don't throw shade at people. Like I said, I'm going out there, and people ask me questions about what I'm going to do, and I have answers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what I've seen in the village, in the town, in the county, in the state, in the country, is everyone is really good at pointing out problems, but nobody's coming with solutions.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest problems that has been a talking point in the village for God knows how long now is a youth center. They've been talking about a youth center for 15 years since I paid attention.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the village has a terrible relationship, right? A terrible relationship with the way that the school and the village work together. They don't. So really what it ends up being is that we have to build those relationships back up, because we have the Monticello High School, the Monticello Middle School, the Rutherford School, the Cook School, and the Old Middle School, all in the village of Monticello, all within the village, and we don't use any of those buildings. But I pay taxes to the school, I pay taxes to the town, I pay taxes to the village, I pay water tax, I pay sewer tax, I pay so much taxes. I should be able to have a program in the school for our young people after school. We should be able, because the facility is there and the young people are already there.
Right.
Right. I mean, if we're doing a program in the new middle school, let's just say, the high school is already there. Right. The middle school is already there. The Rutherford School is walking distance to there.
Mm-hmm.
If these programs were being run by the village in cooperation with the school,
mm-hmm.
right, we would actually have something to do. And then this screaming about our kids have nothing to do, give them something to do. Don't just keep yelling about nothing to do.
Right.
Do something.
Well, here's a question. It's a good question from Rashad. He goes, what's the plan to change the power dynamic from the old Monticello to the new Monticello? The makeup of Monticello doesn't match the policies of the people in power of Monticello, which is so true. Because when you look at the people in most of these places, when you look at it doesn't look like the people. So, like, you going in, like, I know you're for the youth. That was one of my questions, kind of like, what was your idea, your plan to change that over so that there are things for the young people?
Well, and I've spoken to Rashad on a couple of occasions also. So the thing is that the old way of doing Monticello stuff was being left out. Right. I've spoken to people about things that we didn't get involved in, and how the village got left out of certain meetings, certain conversations, because nobody wanted to deal with leadership of the village at the time. When the casinos came and the meetings between the town, the county, and the casinos happened, the village wasn't there. The village wasn't invited to those meetings. The village leadership was not invited to those meetings because the village at the time was fighting with the town and the county. The idea is, and this is something I posted on my Facebook, if they won't let you sit at the table, bring a chair. I'm going to bring a chair.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm going to, but the thing is the difference here is that, when I make a phone call to the town, I can talk to Mr. Reber very calmly because, and as funny as it sounds, I coach his kid. Mm-hmm. I coached Sean when he was in 8th grade, when he played baseball. He had a decent swing, not very good with the glove, but a decent swing. I hope Sean's watching so he knows I said it. Right. But the thing is that, I can have that conversation comfortably because I've built those relationships already. It's
about relationships.
If I have to talk to the county, I coached Rob Doherty's son. Good stick. Another one now with a great glove. But you know what? I can have that conversation.
Mhm.
And when it comes to the school, I've had a long-standing relationship with the school. I know Lori James very well, and my wife's on the school board, so I do have the ability to talk to somebody at the school,
Mhm.
right? So these doors that have been shut down for a decade now or more should be opened, and if they were open, then the village wouldn't be on an island like it has been for the last 15 years. And that's where the old Monticello problem has been. We're on an island by ourselves. We're trying to solve our problems by ourselves because we're too proud, I guess, to ask for help, or we're too like we're too narcissistic. We think we know everything and nobody can help us in any way, shape, form. And I don't believe that. I know a couple things. I mean, I'm really good at coaching baseball and football, but if you ask me to coach volleyball, I'd probably be bad at it. So I mean, it's again, we have to know our shortcomings, we have to know our needs, but we also have to know that we can talk to people.
Right.
One of those things that I've learned is that, and I've tried to explain this to people, we don't have to agree.
Right.
But just because
Right.
we don't agree doesn't make us enemies. And
Exactly.
way too many times, in my experiences with the village, is that I would say something that didn't agree with somebody, and all of a sudden I was an enemy. And I'm like, well, I'm no one's enemy. Like I mean, if you're going to bring good things to the village, the county, or the town, or the state, I'm an ally. Like I'm here for the good of everybody. I'm not here for a good of just a piece of our community. I'm not here for like one street.
Right.
Like I'm not not like if I'm doing little pluck, I'm not doing little pluck on one street. I'm doing little pluck on every street.
Mhm. And let
And
me ask you, the people that are already in positions, right? Because you guys just had an election last year,
mhm.
right? I don't live in Monticello, so I don't know what's going on in Monticello. Um,
But we are the
uh,
county seat.
yeah, but
Mhm.
I'm trying to make this, try not to be totally wrong in my word. Um, there are people in position now. There was like there was a mess like Fallsburg. Last year was Fallsburg. This year,
Mhm.
now you come into the table with the older and new people. You seem different. You seem I'm saying this as nicely as I can. You seem you seem different from them. How do you feel? Because you're not in anybody's pocket. You don't have an agenda, you know. How do you feel you're going to be received with those people? Like, because if you go in there, because like I know if I was on a board or something, I would be thrown out. First of all, they wouldn't even let me on the board, but I would be thrown out all the time. So I'm like, you're outspoken.
Yes.
You are outspoken. So how do you think you'll be received by the people that are already in position, that got their position already,
Mhm.
and they really don't want to hear what you got to say because they're already where they are?
Well, and it's funny how it works out. I've known George, the mayor,
Mhm.
since he was in high school.
And I wasn't talking about, I don't know him. I
I'm
don't know
saying
my fellow
I've known
people.
George since he was in high school.
Okay.
Mike Banks, who's on the board, played in my basketball leagues. And I hope he's watching. Terrible basketball player. Terrible. Right? He had a good team. The guys he had playing on his team were good. If he had 8 guys on his team, he was the 9th best player on his team.
I heard that. But we're
Right,
gonna leave that alone. I don't play
right.
basketball.
But and Carmen, I've dealt with Carmen as an employee to the village. Me and Carmen have had conversations before that were very civil. It's the best thing that we can do. But that's what I can do with her. Like I can be civil and I can talk to her, and that's the best I can do. And Charlie Sabatini, I've known Charlie's son. Was in the middle school when I worked at the middle school. He was a good kid. He had some issues with other kids when he was there. But with that said, like I know him. You know, so I've known Charlie a long time. And even Gordon, like in the situation with Gordon, is Gordon worked with my dad at the prison, right? And was friends with my dad at work. So when me and Gordon spoke, normally I would say 90% of the time it was cordial. It was 10% of the time was the issue. But the thing is that that's how I deal with people. You know, I know people outside of their political spot. You know, I've known people forever. You know, so just because someone's in office now, I mean, even you know, your newly elected supervisor in Fallsburg used to work at the Raleigh Hotel with me, right? And she'll tell you, you know, without question, about one night we took serving trays and ran down to Toboggan Hill, 150 miles an hour, and should have died. But I've known her since we were 15 years old. You know, so, you know, like, I'm not walking into these people's lives for the first time as an agitator in an office. Like, I'm walking in as somebody they already know.
Okay. Now, another question. Good questions. These are some good questions.
See, Rashad's on point.
Yeah. He is. But it makes sense. Like, do you think you would have done better if you would have entered the race with a team instead of solo? Like,
well,
teams,
I mean,
they take up all the seats, because well, you ran with the team before.
Yeah. See, the thing is that I wasn't looking to run. The original election was supposed to be in March of 2020. I mean, people had spoken to me, the one that I was a write-in, right? I chose to get into the election after it was delayed. Because I wasn't planning. I never planned on running for office. I've always said, and I've said it to everyone in the world, there's smarter people than me in this community who should be running for office, who should be in charge of stuff, who should be doing things.
But people don't want to be. They don't want the craziness. It's crazy.
So, but I've also, like I've explained to young people, I actually sat at the basketball game, the one Monticello played. I think it was the Goshen game. I was at the game, and I spoke to a young man, and he was speaking about how he really wanted to get involved in politics. And I explained to him, I was like, you don't have to be 30 something to run for office. Right. You can be 18 years old and run for office. I mean, they don't have to wait until they got 2 kids, a house, bills. They can do it. Because most of the great ideas that I've heard have come from someone between the age of 18 and 25. And
you don't have to have experience. It's been shown. I'm just throwing it out. Not talking about you. I'm just throwing it out there.
Throwing it out there. And the thing is that, I mean, it's funny how we're just in that spot. I mean, when I did run, and I will say I had a team. My team was those young people. I mean, I had a team. I ran with George and Mike, and push them also, and they helped push me. But the simple fact is I had a team. Dana Halperin is amazing at what she does.
You had some foot soldiers. Yep. Yes, you
did. And Crystal, Stan, who literally, like, I mean, and I mean, there's so many. I mean, I hate. The funny thing is, I hate that I had so many people, because I hate forgetting people to thank people.
But you had a lot. You had a big support team around you.
Yep.
You had a good unit. You did.
And the thing is they weren't political pieces. They weren't, like they didn't follow me because or support me because they were Republicans or Democrats.
Right.
And that's the thing, like going back to something you said before, that voting a line thing, that's not this younger generation. They don't vote lines. No. They vote people.
Popularity too. I'm just saying. No. Popularity too. No, I'm just saying this.
Listen,
they vote for.
I never won Mr. Popularity in high school. I was a guy sitting in the back of the room, quiet. The idea that I am so vocal now shocks people I went to high school with.
I hear you.
They're just shocked by that I'm involved.
Now, let me ask you, do you think people sometimes vote for people out of fear? out of retaliation. Like if you don't, because there just seems to be, it seems like there is a stronghold on Sullivan County. Sitting back looking in, because I'm not into politics. I'm just somebody, a little person sitting back watching all these little things happen. And you have some of the same players involved in everything.
Yep.
So that's why I'm like, do you think maybe there's a fear factor in some of the votes? Because people fear for some sort of a retaliation if they don't vote for.
I think fear is a strange word for it. I would say more of comfort.
Bully tactics.
Yeah,
There's some bullying going on.
I think a lot of it ends up being is that there's a thing about, like, people say, well, he's been in office 15 years, right? And they think that because you've been in office 15 years, you have experience.
Right.
Well, if you've done nothing for 15 years, what's your experience of doing?
Yeah.
The thing is that's why I said, I was like, young people need to get involved because they don't have the experience, because experience isn't always a good thing. Like just because you've been in office,
right.
if you've done nothing with that time other than aggravate people, other than be contemptuous with other people in the community,
right?
It's just one of those things, or be divisive. That's the one thing in the village I just don't understand.
Right.
And it's happened a long time. We have elected officials in the town, the county, the village, all the way up and down, who run for one part of the community. We have people who run for just a certain section. And the thing is Monticello is the most diverse community in Sullivan County.
It is. It is.
So the idea is that, like, our board actually kind of resembles our community. It's just those people don't support their thoughts sometimes. Like the thing that happened in the village, I'm going to bring it up. It's just kind of one of those things. The thing that happened in the village last year, with the young man being pretty much, yes, being drawn
that racial, yes. Yeah.
Right. The support should have came from the people on the board who ran on the idea that they represent that community. And they didn't. And then they got angry at me because I stood up for him. Now, the thing is that the person I stood up for, again, played ball for me. He was a kid when I first met him. He was a middle schooler. So the fact is that, to me, he was just a young man who was treated wrongly at his job. And I had no problem telling people that he was treated wrongly at his job. But the thing is that if I was on the village board at the time that this had happened, I wouldn't have tried to sweep it under the rug. I wouldn't have said, "Oh, well, wait till after the election and we'll take care of it." It needed to be taken care of directly. And the thing was, it was taken correctly. It was done wrong.
But let me ask you,
that person still has a job.
Why do you think it was swept? Looking at that board, like, you can say it represents, or whatever, represents the town more, or whatever. Some people with skin color, or whatever the case may be. Like I said, I don't know.
It gives a visual that it represents.
But what do you think is the reason why they let that man get away with that?
Because it would have brought a negative shine to the village that the people who were running for office didn't want to deal with.
And they didn't think that allowing this man to be openly called out of his name, because the dude that did it was comfortable enough to say it like he said it. So then that means he used to say it on a regular basis, that he was so comfortable with it. See, I'm getting hot. Yeah, that he was comfortable with it, that none of them thought enough to say anything, because in their hearts, maybe, and this is just the way I see it. In their hearts, maybe they wanted to call somebody that, or they probably have.
But my thing is that
I'm not running for office.
To say that the way it was used
Was
I mean,
it should have never been used.
It should never be used, right? And the thing is that the situation was there for people to do the right thing, and that's what bothered me. And that's what bothered me from the beginning was you had the chance to do the right thing, and you didn't, and then you swept it under the rug, and then you told them, "Don't worry about it, we'll take care of it after the election." But by the time, because they weren't expecting a global pandemic to delay it. Mm-hmm. So they thought they would have a couple of weeks and then they would get rid. That shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have been a couple of weeks. It shouldn't have been a couple of minutes. The thing is that as soon as that video hit somebody's phone or somebody's email or somebody visually saw it, should have been the end of the conversation. But it should have been taken care of instantaneously.
But you know what? That is what I'm saying. People can say it all day long till Jesus comes. They can say whatever they want to say. In their hearts, people have, during the pandemic and everything, people have shown who they are. Because any person that didn't feel that way in position, running for office would not have determined how you handle that. You would have stepped up to the plate and been like, okay, you need to come in my office. You are suspended until we find out what's going on. That's 2.2 seconds. It should have been done. But because they have unions and they can hide behind the union, but the union shouldn't even be. It was on tape.
There's not a union in the world that would have defended him.
But they just,
there's not a union in the world.
The way
I've been part of a union, and I've you know, and I have many friends who are in unions, and I can tell you right here, right now, they would never defend that action.
So there's like, so how did he get away with it?
Like, because they dropped the ball. Because they dropped the ball, because they didn't want to enforce the rules. Because and here's one of those other things that I brought up, and I've been bringing up since I worked there. There is no HR department in the village. There is no
right.
Yeah, but there's not. I mean, the thing is, they don't have anybody to keep track of the rules of the place. Like, there should be rules in place. If you use certain language, you should be suspended for this amount of time, and then you can bring it to your union. There's no rules in place. Whoever's in charge makes the rules.
But that's a hostile work environment.
Yes.
We have trainings on that. Every job has a training on a hostile work environment.
Yep.
That's a hostile work environment for that man. So something should have been done ASAP, but it wasn't. They dragged their feet because of this man's longevity. He was probably in there calling every person of color, every kind of color, because I don't know who all works there. Probably called them out their name all these years. Why? Because it was in his heart and it's who he is. It's what it is.
Yep.
It's what it is. I'm sorry. It wasn't about. I'm sorry.
And again, I mean, and I'm not. Listen, I don't look into people's hearts. I don't look into people's minds. I just know that,
like, I'm psychic Cindy or something.
Yep, I am not. But what I do know is that I felt Stefan's pain. That I knew.
That could be
that I knew. I felt his pain. I felt his family's pain. I felt the community's pain about it. You know, and the thing was, while at the time that the nation was going after police departments, our police department, you know, like, if you look at our police department, we have amazing officers.
Yeah.
You know,
you really do.
And I mean, people who I've known, again, because I'm old and I know everybody, people I've known for a very long time, since they were in high school, are Monticello PD.
Yeah.
You know, and they're great, and they're great with our community, and they're great in our you know, in many ways.
Right. They are.
But they're not perfect.
No, but no
but
department in anything is. They are
good.
And Fallsbirds are. I got to give them a shout out.
I mean, I used to play basketball with Simi. I am, and I know I called out everyone else's skills. I am the worst basketball player of all time. Terrible.
You know, I'm gonna have a conversation with one of them police officers that's coming on my show during political. I'm gonna get one of them on there. Yep. Somebody's coming on to talk to me.
And the thing is I've known, you know, they're good people.
Yeah, they are.
And most of them are from Monticello. I mean, I've known Justin Dawson since he was in 5th grade.
I don't know none of them.
Yep. But I mean, Justin, I think in 5th grade he was 6'2" then. He was always been taller than me. Uh, so, but the thing is that we have great Monticello PD, right? And they have a great relationship with the sheriffs and the state troopers, and we need to support them. But at the same time, right, we have to keep our eyes open and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing at the village level. We, if we have something going on at the village level, because really being on the village board is really in charge of the village employees. And we have to say, we have to give them the ability to succeed and not, like, I mean, and I'm probably calling out certain members of the board. We're not here to oversee every action of every village employee.
Right.
We're here to give them opportunities to be successful. Because trust me, if it's something at the sewer department, I know nothing about the sewer department other than I don't want to work there. Right. So the people who do work in the sewer department need our support. The people working in our water department need our support. The people working DPW, the ones who make sure we can get to work in the morning when they clear our roads, they need our support too.
Now, the trustees, I'm sorry, the trustees, there's a bunch, right? Are there several? There's four.
Four trustees in the mayor.
So you all are over, speaking into existence, all trustees have a certain department or whatever that they're over, right? Or how does that work? Like,
I don't think so. The village has a very strange political makeup. The village has the mayor, and then has a manager who is supposed to be a liaison between the manager and the heads of the departments, is the liaison to the mayor.
Okay.
The problem is the village has gone through managers pretty much like my kid goes through sneakers, like every 3 months, it seems. It's an issue, and it's been an issue for the village for probably 2 decades now.
Why?
The mayor's position, it's because the positions, it's not an easy position to have, for one. For two, because we continue to have change of leadership at the top with the mayor, the manager always ends up taking the fall for whatever the mayor doesn't, it's and the thing is, the problem we've had is we've had, spaces where the mayor has taken over as the manager, which we're in that state right now, where we have a mayor/manager. George is the mayor/manager. It's supposed to be a position of like working together.
So the manager, right? The town manager, basically. I'm taking it as when I worked in New Hope. Okay, as a house manager, I had an assistant manager. The assistant manager is the liaison between the manager and the staff, right?
Yep.
The assistant manager is supposed to know almost everything that the manager knows how to does and handle. So if I'm not there, stuff falls on the manager, right?
Yep.
So all the manager has to do is, it's a lot, like it's a town that I'm not in office. All the manager has to do is their job, know what's going on. So when the manager is not doing what they're doing, they can call them out, be like, look, because they're the liaison, they're their right-hand man, right? Yep. Call them out and be like, look, this is supposed to go on. We're getting ready to get an audit. This is falling through the cracks. We need to look at this, instead of everybody trying to shake everybody's hands, smiling and kissing babies.
Yep. And because we don't have a manager, and this is, and again, I'm not in anyone's pocket. I don't agree with there not being a manager. Yeah, and if there's not going to be a manager, get rid of the manager position. That's how I look at it.
Right, because he can't do both.
If we can't consistently keep a manager, and get rid of the manager position, make the mayor like the town supervisor, where the town supervisor is in charge of the town. So the idea is if we cannot maintain a manager, then get rid of the manager position. The mayor is now the manager. End of the conversation. We elect the person we want to run our village that way. So then the next time the mayor position comes up, right, and this is nothing against George or anyone else, we know that we're actually voting for the person who is running the village. Because the thing is that, when George ran, he ran against someone who was the mayor/manager, right? And the conversation is that it didn't work. Now, George has been stuck in that position now since, right? Now, again, it's supposedly because of money issues and stuff like that, which it could be, because I'm not in the village. I'm not sure. But the idea is that it doesn't work. like
it's
the
too much
position,
for one person. It's
right?
too
But the
much.
position doesn't work being when you're trying to slash it, when you're trying to say, well, I'm a manager today. Well, I'm the manager. It doesn't work.
No,
Either have it
doesn't
or
work.
don't have it.
Right.
Don't have, I mean, and I guess this is one of those things where this comes from my mother. Don't half-ass anything.
Right.
Right? Like, and that's what we're doing right now. And
Because you're
the
not going to
thing
be
is because
successful.
we don't have a manager to be a liaison to the whole board, our trustees are comfortable walking into DPW, walking into the sewer department, walking into the police officers, walking in and voicing their opinion because there is no in between.
No, they don't.
Oh yeah, they do.
Okay, now.
Right. And
That's
that
a problem.
that has been
That's a
happening for
problem.
a very long time. So with that said, like the structure that's put in place for the village isn't being followed. So with that, and again, and I will tell you, the head DPW I went to high school with, right? He used to beat me up in the halls. He was big. He's a big bully. I hope he's watching. He was a big bully in high school, right? The guy that's in charge of the water department is married to one of my best friends. But you know what? When they're at work, it's not my job as a trustee to walk into their office and say, hey, why is this person doing this? I have to have faith in that they know how to do their jobs. Because trust me, I don't know how to be head of DPW. I don't know how to be head of the water department. Right. I have to trust that they know what they're doing. It's my job to give them the ability to be successful. And it's my job to help them serve our community better, because that's really what their job is. It's what my job is. It's what their job is. Serve the community. Right. That's why I'm in no one's pocket, because if you run around and you say, we have to stick together. Well, if you're sticking together, that means you're not letting anybody else in. Right. Right. And we are, for such a small community, we have so many different faces to deal with. We have different races, religions, cultures. We have everything under the sun in such a small community. And for someone to run with the idea that I'm here for just one part of our community, right? Wrong. And again, and people like it, and sports has always been a great fallback for me, because it's always been real simple. If you could play ball, you're on my team. I didn't care if you were purple with horns. If you could hit somebody in a football field, you can turn a double play on a baseball field, I was there for you. Right? And everybody knew that, and again, so in my world, I never had to worry about only catering to one side. Who I catered to was people who could play ball. It's like, so as a political situation, as what we're doing now, is what I'm doing with my life now, right? I need people who can work together. Right.
But you're going into a group that you're going into a group where people are set in their ways. They probably didn't play sports, or they played way back in the day before your time. So no, really. Or they didn't play in the area they came, or their mindset was different. So you're going in with a group of people that don't think like you. Like, how do you handle that with going into it with people that don't have that teamwork thing, that didn't play in a sport? Because everybody that was a part of a sport knows teamwork and knows that not one person is going to do everything. You need everybody in that team to win that game and have that victory. Yep. But when you have those people in there, it's all about me.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it?
The thing is that I don't let their lack of team affect my team building. Right. The simple fact is that listen, I've coached for, God, I'm not even going to say the number because it makes me hurt. I've been coaching since I was 19. I've been coaching since I was 19 years old. So the idea is that, I'm 50 something now. So I've been doing it a long time. And the simple fact is that not everyone was a team player. Not everyone on a team is a team player. We had our prima donnas. We had our wide receivers who used to run routes with their hands down because they were cold and they didn't care. We had guys who wouldn't show up to practice. We had those guys. And you know what you did? You made sure that you coached up the ones who did want to be positive. You made sure that you got them up to a level where, because if I have 10 people in the room and 9 people are positive and 1 person's negative, we're walking out of the room with a positive thought. Because a negative person isn't going to be strong enough to make a difference. That is why I'm running. Because we have to get rid of the negative in the village. We have to. Right. The village has been a negative spot for decades now in the village offices. And those people work really hard and they deserve better than that. So the simple fact is our village meetings shouldn't be something that people watch, with a laugh track on the bottom to see the snipping at each other. Right. It's not necessary. The idea is that if you have a disagreement with somebody, do it in private sessions.
Right.
Don't air it. And again, and trust me, I hope, and I know me, there will be a moment where I snip back at somebody because they're snipping at me, because I'm not going to sit there and take it. I can tell you that. Everyone who knows me knows I'm not going to sit there and take it. But the fact is that we don't have to be that way to get things done. We'll never get. I mean, the simple fact is,
won't get anything done.
We've got nothing done for over 15 years, 16 years now.
Wow.
Right. Nothing. I can point to the day where we stop getting things done. And it's scary because I've been here and I've watched it. I remember going to stores on Broadway. I remember walking down the streets of Broadway at night and there were stores open.
Yeah.
And now there's not. I go get my Chinese food. Chinatown Kitchen, which I love to death. I love them so much. Every Sunday, I go get Chinese food. And they're the only thing open on Broadway.
Really?
Pretty much. Them and Salt and Pepper is usually open by the time I get there. Right? Well, actually, no, I'll take that back. I'm wrong. Annie's is also open. But see, and that's just it. Like, we have restaurants open on Broadway. A couple. But that's it. And they're all good. And that's a great thing. Every restaurant on Broadway is good. El Con is amazing. Right? They're amazing. Right? And Annie's, I love their disco fries. Right? I don't know if have you ever had disco fries?
Never heard of a disco fry.
French fries with gravy and cheese.
Too much going on for me.
Oh yeah, no, it's heaven. Right? Right. But the Chinese restaurant. But the thing is that these 4 places are open and everything else is closed around them. It's heartbreaking because we should have businesses open. We should have things open. And yes, we should have. I'm always been about we need small businesses in the village because we need to get our young people working. Right?
Yes, they do.
In fact, I mean, they can't all work at Walmart. They can't all work at the casino or at the water park because, I mean, again, those aren't jobs that you're going to grow from. That's the problem. They don't grow in these jobs. They get them. And then 10 years later, they're still stuck in still stocking shelves and they have the same job. There's no future in those jobs. And there's nothing against a Walmart job. I mean,
right.
I mean, I worked at Burger King. I mean, I know what it's like, but I also worked at hotels when I was a kid.
Right.
But the thing is that
you have more options.
Yep. These kids, I mean, if you don't want to flip burgers and you're 15 years, 16 years old, how many options you have?
Right. There are no more Apollo malls.
No. Nope. I worked at Apollo Mall too.
Me too. When I was 15.
I sold shirts and shoes. 2 jobs I had there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, and again, I'm lucky because I see the good in here.
Right.
I see the good people. I see the good businesses. I see the good political people in political office. I do see the good ones. I know they're there.
Right.
I know the hurdles that they have to jump over, and the circles they have to run through to get things done. I know, but you know what? I also know they go in every day trying to do it.
It might make a big difference if there was a manager. It would make a big difference.
Yep.
That's what it sounds like.
Again, it's either hire a manager or get rid of a manager's position.
Yeah.
It's either or. Like the thing is being in kind of a flux area where you really don't know what, like, okay, are we going to get a manager? We're not going to get a manager. We're just going to keep the position open, but we're not going to use it. We're going to the mayor could run the village. I mean, we have strong department heads. The mayor could run the village by himself. And if that's the case, then get rid of the manager position, change, Because the thing is, the mayor's position is a lot of money. And that money is being used in different ways, which I'm not in the village, so I can't say exactly how it's being used. I know it's being split between people, but I don't know how it's being split, and I'm not going to comment on that because I'm not going to talk out of my side of my mouth, I guess.
If the position is there, if the position is there, that means the funds was there. That means they need to allocate the money the way it's supposed to be used and do what's right and stop giving certain people more money that don't deserve it, because it's all about titles, positions, friendships, who you know. That's my opinion on politics. Bunky's opinion, nobody else's.
Nope.
My opinion, So.
One of the things I learned during my last election, I was speaking to somebody who was at the mosque, and she said to me that the person I was running against last election only showed up every 4 years.
Right, during election time.
Yep, during election time. And she's like, she'd come in, she'd eat our food, and then she'd leave. And then she'd be like, and then we'd see her 4 years later.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not that person. And I've told everyone. I've told Reverend Hitton. I've told everybody. I am not walking into your church, your synagogue, your mosque. I'm not doing that. Right. Because I haven't done anything for you yet. Like people who are running for office, who go to these religious, organizations, and that's wrong.
And people don't like it. I'm just letting you know, people don't like it because they're only here for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people really don't like it. And people that do it look crazy.
Yep. And I went to Reverend Hinton's and I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called, where he got a higher position in the church. Right. I don't know what it's called, but I went to that because he invited me as a person. Right. We're friends. I didn't go as political.
Been promoted to a few things, so I don't know which one.
Yeah, I don't know. It was. I can say it was impressive, and the people who were singing were amazing. Right, which I have no singing talents. Again, this is another one. I have no problem saying it. If you ever hear me singing, please stop me.
Cut it out.
It's hurting somebody, and the dogs are coming from miles away. It's not. And my dad sung doo-wops, on the radio station. My wife is classically trained, like singer. She sings the national anthem at basketball games. If you ever hear me sing, it's bad. It's bad. My daughter likes it, but that's about it. Right?
Daddy's girls.
I try not to stay too serious, and that's another thing that I try to explain to people. You can't always be fighting. You can't always be arguing.
It doesn't. It's a bad look. It's a bad look, and then you expect people to trust you and you want people to approach you, but yet you're always talking bad about your opponent, or you're always arguing or fighting in these meetings or whatever. So why would somebody want to come and say anything to you? No.
And that's just it. The people who come to the meetings, they're not there for most of them, right, are not there for the show. Like, I guess they are there for the show. They're there to see, let's see what this person says to that person. Instead of, hey, I have a concern about my road, or I have a concern about our kids, or I have a concern. Like, they don't come to meetings, like our public moments in the meetings, they're not like that. They're not people reaching out saying like, hey, it's about, you guys don't do anything. Okay.
But are they heard? Because I'm not going to get in. I'm not going to get into it because he wouldn't care if I did. But I'm not going to. There was a situation where somebody from Monticello had a situation, and he was trying to reach the mayor, and never got a response back, and went to a meeting and never had the opportunity to speak.
And see, now, and the thing is that every meeting,
and I can't even go in. I can't even, because I don't know.
Every meeting should have a public, and this is the thing. There should be public comments at every meeting. The problem is, I've been to village meetings, right? And the public comment is whoever's yelling in the back. Yeah. They're not actually waiting for public comment. They just yell in the back, right? So people who are doing it the right way, who are waiting, right, don't, and again, I haven't been to a meeting recently. right? But again, if I'm elected, right, and if we don't have public comment, I'm going to want public comment.
Yeah.
Right. Because again, if we don't get public comment, we don't know what's going on.
Right. You
know,
don't.
like, you don't. I mean, and again, I could tell you that my neighbor has said to me that her water is a little brown, like coming out of the pipes, and again, we have very old pipes in the village and, nothing I would know anything about.
Right.
Right. But a public comment, I don't know what anybody's problems are. This could be everybody's water could be brown. Oh, I know. I'm one of these people who I drink it right out of the tap. I don't even look at it. My wife puts it through like 3 scans. Hey, I'm not. I grew up drinking water out of the hose. I don't care. But I'm saying is that like I would never think about that kind of stuff. But a public comment, I don't know what's going on the other side of the village. There might be guys who are street racing on a road that I don't live on. I don't know.
Right.
So the thing is, in public comment, we could find out about these things, and it gives the public, a chance. Now you have to have rules in place.
Absolutely. You always
you have to have some kind of decorum. You have to say, hey, everyone's limit to 5 minutes.
2, like in church, 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Get it out. Right.
Yeah. So my thing is 2 minutes. I'll give them 5 because, you give certain people 2 minutes, they'll introduce themselves for 1 minute and 55 seconds.
Well, then that's on them. They need to get it together. Together. But our time is up.
Our time is never up. I'm always here for you.
And you have to come on after. Definitely after. Mm-hmm. When is the election? March what?
March. There's going to be a primary in January.
Primary in January.
Yep. So I'm gonna reach out. The Democratic line is going to have a primary.
Okay.
And this is again, I don't talk about my opponents, but I'm running Gordon and Rochelle. I've been told are going to primary the Democratic line.
Gordon's running again?
Yes. Like I said, an hour and 7 minutes, and I did not mention him.
For what?
He's running for trustee.
Okay. Yep. All right.
And like I said, and again, I'm not. And
Rochelle is running too.
Rochelle
has
Rochelle has a spot on the board.
She has a spot on the board, but she's running again.
Right. No? She's running for her spot.
She's running for her spot. Gordon's running for a spot.
Right. And Charlie Sabatini has the other spot, and I'm running with Charlie.
Okay. All right. See, I don't live in Monticello. I have
I know. And again, and that's, like, I didn't want to take this time
to talk about anybody else.
I
got you. I got you.
And that's who I am,
but that's good.
But that primary is in the end of January. I want to say it's January 24th. Of course, I don't have a January calendar because it's in January, and why would I have a January calendar?
It's on a Tuesday?
Yeah, I think it's a Tuesday. I think it's the 24th. 25th.
Yeah.
January. Right. So the thing is that, only the Democrats can vote in the primary.
Right.
And there is no write-ins for the primaries. So they have to come out and vote.
Okay.
So again, this is like, very important.
That the people get out and vote.
The people get out for that. I mean, again, I will tell you, most village primaries get a very small amount of people out.
I voted in ours. I voted in our primary.
Primary?
Oh, yeah.
And how many did you have?
Well, Democratic primary. I went to that one. It was
like 5% of the total votes.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. So the thing is that like a primary vote, sometimes can be stolen by someone who is motivated. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, and I've said this, and this will be the only thing I ever say about Gordon. Gordon has always thought that, like, other people who run against Gordon thought, oh, it'd be nice to be on the board. Gordon needs to be on the board. Gordon has never run against someone else who is as tenacious as I am.
Okay. So then he's running Democrat?
He's going to try and force the primary on a Democratic line.
Okay. Oh, this going to be interesting.
But again, I will not lower myself to mud.
Yeah, there's no need. I mean,
but I will work very hard to get people out to vote.
yeah, absolutely. And the election, primary election, is January 25th, which is on a Tuesday, and it's probably at 6 a.m., 6 to 9.
I don't even think it's that long. I think it's a shorter one because
Okay.
it's primary. I think I will have more of that information.
Okay, let me know.
Friday, I think I'll have Friday or
Okay.
Saturday. I'll have more of that information because I'm not. Again, he has to get signatures like I have to get signatures. You know, like I'm going out and getting signatures, so he's out there getting signatures also. You know, so but the thing is that that's what I've been told. You know, like I've knocked on people's doors and they're like, yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So again, and I don't have a problem with Gordon running. He has the right to run. And that's fine. And he has the same right to run as I do.
Right.
So and again, like I've said, 90% of the time I've talked to Gordon has been cordial.
Right.
It's the other 10%.
May the best man win.
That's me.
Right.
See, confidence has never been a problem.
No, listen. You got, if you don't believe in you, who else is going to, right?
I'm saying.
Wow. Like, yeah, because I don't know Monticello. I don't know what's going on. I don't live there. But well, I thank you. Yes. And like I said, I want to have these conversations with people so I can learn, because you see, I have my opinions on politicians, yes. And I just want to know what is it like, like, what's your motive? Like, why do people do it? And talking with different parties and different people, you can find out different things. And my goal really is to find out the similarities more than the differences. So maybe at some point I can figure out, okay, so why are we so far apart in the way we think?
Well, I mean, I've always said, if no one's ever going to have the same agenda.
No, they're not.
They're not. No. But the thing is every agenda has common ground.
But you know what? But you can see when somebody straight lying to you, when you're having a conversation with people, like conversations like this, I'm talking to you. You can tell by watching people's body movements, if they shady, they shiesty. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a hidden agenda, and that's why I want to have these conversations. And I thank you for being my first one.
Always.
But
I will. Whenever you ask me, I will come on. Because I love talking to you. I mean, and again, we met. You didn't even know who I was until we met.
Right.
Juneteenth we met.
Yes.
And you're like, why is this man here?
Because everybody knows Kenny J and Roe. I don't know anybody, but everybody knows who they are. But you played a part in their lives, and anybody that helped mold them, I appreciate.
Well, I appreciate them.
Yeah, well,
like I said, I always like, I mean, I appreciate everybody I come in contact with. Everyone I've come in contact with has made me who I am today.
And I can say the same thing for myself. My goal is to get a police officer on my show, so I can. And you know what? Roe got me this.
You know any state troopers that maybe come on the show?
He won't do it yet, but I have.
Because I mean, he is the shyest of your three kids.
He after everything is done, he said he'll come on.
Okay.
But he gave me a shirt that I'm debating. Well, I'm gonna wear it because I wear the sheriff shirt hoodie. He got me a New York State Trooper shirt, right? And it was controversial in my house with Jason. We had a debate because it's the flag, with the blue.
Oh, the blue.
But everybody that really knows me, know how I feel about police. I am so pro officer, except for bad officers, and I am so everything Russell. Everything. So if Russell does it, then it's good. So I'm gonna have.
I'm pro good people.
Exactly. There's good and bad in everything.
Yep. So trust me, I'm sure there's a couple of dentists that are really nice people.
But everybody hates them.
Listen, I can tell you right now, I love my dentist. He's pulled out more of my teeth.
Mine is he's nice too, but I still don't want to rock with him.
His daughter was the last time, and they're great to me.
But they still do needles. Needles. I
Yeah,
can't.
they're like this big.
Right. They're like, why?
Listen,
But no, this is going to be good. Make sure you tune into my political Tuesdays. Like I said, they're going to be every other Tuesday,
yes.
every other month, because I cannot.
Well, make sure you always tag me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Maybe I can get Gordon on. I didn't know he was running.
Maybe.
I reached out to a few people. I reached out. Nobody has gotten back in touch with me yet.
Well, hopefully they'll see me and they'll go, oh, I can do that.
But yeah, why wouldn't you want to talk to me?
Well, you're scary.
I know, right? All 5 foot, 120 something pounds of me. I'm terrifying,
Listen,
but whatever. No, it's those questions.
Supposedly I'm somewhat intimidating.
No, all you got to do is have a conversation. That's
Yep.
it. Keep it real. That's it. Keep it 100. So I wish you luck.
Thank you.
I wish you much luck. And for those that didn't catch it, primaries on January 25th, we'll have the times, the Democratic primaries. I don't know. It might have to be more than every other Tuesday. I got to see. But I can't have it interfere with regular tea time with Bunky on Thursday.
Yes, no.
So we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
So,
hey, listen, if I'm the only one, like if you just want to meet with me every 2 weeks, I'm fine with that.
But no, I'm like I said, I have the delegate.
Yep.
Look, and they should feel pretty bad if I got a delegate, the Maryland delegate of District 25, Maryland, y'all, Sullivan County, Maryland. Come on, y'all could do better. Hit me up. Let's have this conversation.
Well, and just you don't know where this will take you, because do you remember Eva, who worked at Cable 6? She was covering the Village. She's now on CNN.
See, I don't do the news. That's like Moochie.
What I'm saying is
Moochie used to do. I don't do
I know. The funny thing is that I don't know Moochie,
but you know,
I know everyone other than Moochie.
Oh, like
I know John,
right?
Because I've known John forever.
Right?
So, and I know the dad. I know Merch. I know the family. I just don't know her.
Right.
So if at any point, the funny thing is we're friends on Facebook, and that's about all I know.
And then
we never actually had a conversation.
Right. Moochie is the truth.
I would.
Listen,
I'll take that invite anytime she wants to give it.
Well, now she's on like Roku. She has the Moochie show. I was like, you go ahead. But
everyone starts from point one.
Everyone starts, and this is my point one. So all right. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you. You all, everybody else have a wonderful night. You see, you got me on a good day. I'm COVID. Last week I had COVID, so I could hardly talk. Today, I'm good now. So
yeah, we need to get rid of COVID. I can't do that. If there's a lot of things I can do in life, I can't get rid of COVID.
But there's a new strand that just came out that hasn't hit America yet. I'm just saying, saw it on the news today. So
I'm just gonna start hiding underneath my table like we used to do for nuclear warnings. When we were in school. I don't know if you're not as old as I am.
No, I didn't. No, we didn't do nuclear hiding under the table.
We did the nuclear things when we were hiding underneath the desk and going, yeah, this would help me if they dropped the A-bomb. Yeah, just that was our government back then. So God knows. Yeah, we're totally fine.
Yeah. You won't feel it. I don't know. All right. So you have a wonderful night.
You have a great night.
Good luck again too. Everybody tune in Thursday. It's going to be a great show. It is, with my nephew, who, like I said, he was adopted at 4. We found him 25 years later, and I looked for him. I used to say when he turned 18, I'm going to go on Oprah. First, it was Ricky Lake. They canceled Ricky Lake. I'm like, I'm going to go on Oprah. Cancel Oprah. Like, where am I going to find him? DNA. Did the Ancestry DNA? I did it a few years ago, but he just did it. Him and his brother just did it, and he linked up with me, and we reunited. I got that call August 12th. He's 29 years old.
That's got to be an amazing moment.
Oh my God, yes. And so we're going to talk about that. He's going to be on Thursday. So Finding My Family. So those, tune in, tell a friend.
I will.
Tell a friend. Okay. Tell your counterparts or whatever. Tune in to Tea Time with Bunky. I'm not mean, and I don't talk about politicians. I just want to know. Okay.
Like I said, you don't bother me.
I know I don't bother you. All right. You have a good night.
You have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.